Sup, everybody? Welcome back. And yeah, hmm. if you hear anything in the back, that is the heater. It is very cold here. Uh, gotta keep it warm. Let's just go ahead and jump into this. This is Good Game Reviews. Doing another game review, and we are covering the Sunday night matchup between the Patriots and the Ravens. This is Week 9. Final score 20-37. Complete beating, I shall say, at least just, overall looking at the team. Once again, the Patriots, they could not really get a lot of things going on the offense. They managed to put up 20 points, which is cool. But because that defense could not, step up and get, enough, turnovers like they usually do, or picks. They didn't get any picks this game. Yeah, they 37 was the final, score that the Ravens were able to have. So, but let's go ahead and get into this, because I think this is gonna get into a lot of things in this. First, I like to cover the good. Usually, there's not a lot of good to look at, but going through this game, I discovered that there was a few good things. Passing, Tom Brady was not like just god awful. Um, I know a lot of sports analysts are going to say that he was bad, and they're going to mock him, and they're going to make fun of his age and all of that. But looking at the numbers, he wasn't really that awful. He wasn't really bad at all. He completed 30 of his 46. He had 285 yards. He had a touchdown. He did have the interception. But he had a pass rating of 80.4. So I wouldn't say that he was just completely awful. This is definitely this is definitely not his worst. If anything was his worst, it would be the Bills game. That would still be his worst game of the season statistically. But yeah, I wouldn't say that he had like a truly bad game. As far as rushing the ball, not really like any bright spots. I only put James White here because he had 9 attempts, 38 yards, averaged 4.2, and had the touchdown. Really, the touchdown is the only thing that really got him in there. Besides that, yeah, not a lot to speak of as far as rushing. Receiving, if you are a fantasy fan and you had Julian Edelman and Mohamed Sanu, or if you just had one of those guys and you needed them to, do good on your team to, push you ahead, then hey, maybe this was the game for you. Maybe you liked it. But if you're a Patriots fan and you don't care at all about fantasy, then yeah, this was it was pretty bad just overall. See, Julian Edelman, he had 11 targets, he caught 10, he had 89 yards, average 8.9. He didn't have any touchdowns this game. Just yeah, I don't know. Man, y'all gotta forgive me. It is a long night. Um, As far as Mohamed Sanu, he had a really good game. I did not expect them to get him this involved in the game, but they were really, trying to find a way to get him into the game. And he had 14 targets, 10 receptions, same as Edelman, 81 yards, and he had a touchdown. So, I mean, they tried their best to get him into this game. Um, A surprise to me was that Jacoby Myers didn't get any snaps whatsoever in this game. I found that very weird. I found it weird that they didn't activate Olszewski, even though I didn't think he was going to like be a part of this passing game at all. I'd expect them to at least activate him. I mean, he definitely wasn't needed, but um, I was surprised that Jacoby Myers didn't get into this game a lot. Didn't try to get him in the game. Didn't pass him any balls. I don't know. Maybe I have to go back and see if he was if he was out there lined up. But from what I saw, I didn't see him at all. He was not a part of that game plan. Another thing that aggravated. This is actually what kind of tipped me off to how the flow of the game was going to go. I found myself aggravated from the very beginning. I was already, pretty ticked off. I looked at the Patriots website on my phone, got the Patriots app. Go ahead and download that. If you're a Patriots fan, go ahead and download the Patriots.com app. I was looking at the app. I turn it on, homepage. I see at the top the inactive list. And if you're familiar with this, you will see that there's always a picture of one of the players, and they're probably like a key player, and their face is right there when you see that inactive, little story thing that you can click on or whatever, so you can see the list. And the first face I see, rookie wide receiver, first round pick, N'Keal Harry, and I was just flatlined. I was done. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This has to be the most just tease. This got to be the tease of the week, man. All of this mess about him progressing and him looking good and him ready to get out there and him traveling with the team and all of this mess, and you activate him to the roster and all of this, and you get to the game, you look at the inactive list, and he's on it. So that was a very big disappointment. I also didn't understand why Olszewski was also inactive. I thought it was a little risky, like just in case we were going to get any, catch any punts. Why have anybody else doing it? It seemed like Olszewski was doing a pretty good job. Maybe he's a little more nicked up than we believe. He has been on the injury report. He has been limited in practice, so maybe that has to do with ankle hamstring issues and all that. Maybe he wasn't ready to go this game. But I was very surprised and very ticked off that N'Keal Harry wasn't in this game. Sorry about that. I just had to rant on that because that was on my mind. That was on my mind, and yeah, I had to get it off my chest. But anyway, back to the good defense. Hightower. I will give Hightower his props. At least he had the 13 total tackles, 4 assists. Van Noy, he had the forced fumble. He was the only guy who actually, did something as far as like turning the ball over, and it's good to have him. We know he's gonna have way better games down the stretch. So this is just one bump in the road. He still found a way to produce though. So got to give it up to him. He has 6 total tackles and 1 assist. Got to give it up to him. Lawrence Guy, he finds a way to get back there. He found a way to get back there once again. This game, he got a sack. He had 4 total tackles, 2 assists. So if there's anything you want to pull from that, the forced fumble, the sack, that's just, that's something you can pull from that, I guess. I rarely do kick returns. And I feel weird even doing it right now. Especially since Brandon Bolin only returned 2, but he had the 53 yards. He averaged 26.5. So, I mean, he had that one good return, which I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna break off for one. These are the moments where I wish we still had Cordero Patterson. I would have kept Cordero Patterson just for his kick returning ability. That would have been the only thing I probably would have kept him for. If he couldn't do anything else and it was just that, I would have kept him. But it's whatever. He's with Chicago now. So kicking. This is weird. Nick Folk. I was very confused that we picked up Nick Folk. And, after dropping Mike Nugent, we pick up Nick Folk. I was like, is this really the best option out here? I know I saw Matt Bryant had just got released. Is this really the best option? Do we have to pick up Nick Folk after what we've seen him do in the league? But I mean, Belichick took the chance on him, and surprisingly, he wasn't the reason why the Patriots lost this game. Far from it. He had 2 opportunities to make field goals. He made those field goals. He had 2 opportunities to make extra points. He made those extra points. He was not the reason that we lost this game. He performed. He had his opportunities and he made them. So yeah, good job, Nick Folk. Can't believe I'm saying that. Ugh. But anyway, punting. I'll go ahead. I got to shout out Jake Bailey because he just deserves shout outs pretty much all the time, every game. If there's one thing that eases my mind is that Jake Bailey was definitely a steal, and I love having him on my team, and I love having him as my punter. 5, punts, average 45.2, 225 net, had a long of 57, down 3 in the 20. So, yeah, I love having Jake Bailey as my punter. That's all I'll say about that. You know how I feel about Jake Bailey. Let's move on to the bad. There's a lot of bad. Let's start. Lamar Jackson pretty much did whatever he wanted in this game. The Patriots could not find an answer. It was only until like later on that the announcers pointed out that he had this tail where if he would reach back and touch his towel, rub his hands on his towel, it was going to be a pass, and if he didn't, it was going to be a run. And I was surprised that the Patriots weren't able to catch on to that, but whatever. They allowed Jackson to pretty much do whatever he wanted. I thought there was one thing that they were going to do. It was going to be limiting his ability to run the ball, and I mean for certain portions of the game they did, but for the most part, he did what he wanted to do. He had like 61 yards rushing it. I mean, there was just moments where they just couldn't stop him from running the ball, and he was 17 for 23, so couldn't really stop him passing. One thing you can notice about Lamar is he had 163-yard passing, so we know he's not just like one of these prolific passers. He's not going to destroy you unless you're just completely garbage. He's not going to destroy you through the air. He's going to destroy you with those legs. But I mean, he did his thing, so I can't really get in on him. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, adding to his 1 passing touchdown. So yeah, Patriots just could not find an answer for him. And just as far as running goes, we couldn't stop the run at all. I mean, Mark Ingram, he had a field day, and I think this is just a recurring problem. I think a lot of, and after the bye week, we're going up against Philly, and Philly has some guys in that backfield who can break it open. Howard, Sanders, these guys can break it open, and if this is going to be a recurring problem, then I fear for what this run defense is going to look like. It's going to come to the point where the offense is just going to have to get better because teams are going to say, "Oh, they can't stop the run. Well, we're just going to run it down their throats." It's going to come to we're going to have to get N'Keal Harry back in there. We're going to have to get Isaiah Wynn back in at that left tackle position, no doubt. We're just going to have to get better on offense because this boogeyman defense, they were not here tonight. They just weren't. We were not able to stop that run. Ingram had 115 yards, average 7.7. We just could not stop that run. Man. As far as receiving, the Patriots did their best in terms of limiting their best guy. I guess if you want to call Marquise Brown their best guy, he only had 48 yards for 3 receptions. So if you want to look at that as a good thing, I guess you can look at that. Nobody on the receiving end really broke this wide open. They pretty much found a way, did all they could to pretty much limit people in terms of that. As far as the defense goes, they sacked us twice. There was the forced fumble. They got an interception on us. The forced fumble, which really killed us, the fumble by Edelman. Yeah, that really killed us. That really killed us because that not only was it fumbled, It was returned for a touchdown, and on a pivotal drive where the Patriots are only down 14-17. Not 14-17, excuse me, 13-17. It's 13-17. The Patriots are marching down the field. They just got the ball back. They're marching down the field. They're like in like around the 30 or something like that. Now at the most, like if they don't get the first down, they're at a position where if they don't get the first down, they can at least kick the field goal, and they will only be down by one. But they were moving the ball. You could see that they were moving the ball so well, and they had gained the rhythm at this point where it looked like they were going to get into the end zone eventually, and had the potential to be up 20-17, which would have switched the momentum drastically in this game. But that fumble by Edelman, it just really killed all of that. It just seemed like it was a done deal from that point. You could feel the air just leave, you know. And Brady didn't help with that pick. It was pretty much like a desperate. It looked kind of desperate to me, and it looked like it didn't have enough power on it. He was trying to get it to Sanu, and he just, he just wasn't accurate on that. He just didn't get it to him. He threw the pick. It was a bad pick. What can you say? Another thing that really killed us was we didn't capitalize on a lot of opportunities we had. We had at least three chances to get picks. Now I know a lot of those came from balls being like kind of batted in the air, but those could have still been picks. And capitalizing on those, that could have switched the momentum of the game. Capitalizing on those, what we've been able to do throughout this first half of the season. I mean, you got to make those plays. Penalties. Yeah, 7 penalties. I will say probably 3 of those penalties were a little questionable to me, but nevertheless, penalties are penalties, and they can kill. They can kill a game, and 7, way too much for my taste. Baltimore only had 4. Yeah, just way too much. Also, if there's one thing you can always look at, majority of the time, probably 99.8% of the time, when you're looking at why a team lost, you go back and you look at the time of possession. The time of possession is very telling to why a team won and why a team lost. And the Patriots obviously lost this battle like they haven't before throughout the season. They only had the ball 22 minutes and 59 seconds. Meanwhile, the Ravens had it 37 minutes and 1 second. So if that's something you want to look at, I mean, hey, they just didn't win that battle. And it got to the point where the Patriots doing a lot of hurry up offense, and it was just the point where they're like, all right, we gotta keep moving, we gotta tire this defense out and find a way to score. And it just didn't work out for them. Again, I would point to that Edelman fumble. I feel like if out of all the bad things that occurred for the Patriots in this game, I feel like that one was the killer. That one was the killer. Because they had a chance to either be down by 1 or be up by 3. And that was the killer right there for me. And they just stalled out on too many drives. They just didn't. It was just a few drives where they had to move the ball, especially in that first half. First quarter, man. It's just worst possible scenario. I mean, they were down 17-0. So we saw what the Browns look being down by 17-0. It looked like they had a chance, but ultimately they kind of screwed themselves, and we turned around and did the same thing this week. Yeah. I think strangely enough, this Sunday, no home team lost. I think that's correct. Even the Green Bay Packers, who were going up against what you would assume was a weak Charger team, they look pretty flat. I don't know why I'm talking about them. I just found it weird. No home team lost today. It was just a wacky day overall. I mean, shoot, like a fantasy team had to bench a lot of guys, got shellacked. Just ugh, just a weird Sunday overall. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. Didn't care for it. Had to work too. Ugh. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to this game. Um, I still feel like we should have gave N'Keal Harry a chance. Just didn't seem right that we would activate him and not put him in the game, and it didn't feel right that we didn't try to get Jacoby Myers in this game. It just feel like we really put a hand behind our backs offensively in a time where we need as much offensive help as we can get. It seemed like we kind of limited ourselves, and it seems like we kind of underestimated our opponents in that regard. But Bill Belichick, you can't doubt Bill Belichick. We've seen worse games than this. Having the bye week, having a time to prepare. I feel like they will have what they need to go up against this Eagles team. And that's really all you can hope for, is that they find a way to recover, which they're pretty good at, and they give their all against this Eagles squad. So that's really all you can hope for. Yeah, so tune in for that one. Should be a good game. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you next week. I'm out.